Mike Purzycki is the man that everybody assumes now is going to be the next mayor of Wilmington. Will he keep the police chief? We ask him. This is the Delaware Way. There are now just 3 people running for mayor in Wilmington, Delaware. Steve Washington, an independent, Robert Martin, who is a Republican, and Mike Purzycki, who you'll see in a second, who is the Democrat. But history and registration would tell you that the Democrat will be the next mayor, and that is Mike Purzycki, who is running for mayor of Wilmington. I know you're not going to assume anything. I understand you're not going to, but
I feel jinxed already.
I think it's safe for me to say that you are the likely mayor. Let's talk a little bit about process. You won the election with just a few thousand votes, and that's the way it was for the last mayor of Wilmington. Do you think that's a fair process, or should there be a runoff after the Democratic?
Yeah, I was asked that in one of our primary debates. I think I was the only one who felt that we'd be better off having a mechanism whereby the top 2, perhaps, contenders wound up either in a runoff or somehow participating in the general election, so that there would be a further delineation of the popular vote. I think it's unfortunate that when you have so many people in it that you wind up winning with 24% of the vote, because obviously you've got 76% of the people didn't vote for the ultimate nominee. On the other hand, that's one part of the culling process, and then we get to the general, where then the people get an opportunity to speak. So,
but the way the general is now,
I take your point. I really do, and that's what I said. Is I was the only one who agreed that we should have a process that is more determinative of a majority view.
That's easy to say the first time running. As an incumbent mayor, would you still want that? Would you push for that?
If you're an incumbent mayor and you've got 4 years to create a foundation of support, if you don't have it by then, frankly, you probably did something that didn't find favor with the public. I mean, I think the incumbency is such an enormous advantage. I don't know that a good performance by an incumbent ought to be rewarded with a second term. And if you're not, then you did something wrong.
What I'm getting at is that you will put the weight of the mayor's office into having a runoff in the next election.
I don't want to have to talk about my age again, but at my point in my life, getting reelected is not what motivates me. I mean, I think if you're young and you think about a career in politics, you're always got one eye on the next election. All I'm looking at is improving the city at whatever cost, and so I'm not.
You're misunderstanding me. I'm not talking about you running for re-election. I'm talking about the process in picking a mayor and whether it should be changed, and you agree it should be changed. So would you change it whether you're going to run or not?
Here's how it works around here. I mean, for us to do that, we need the legislature to change it. So obviously we can influence the legislature, but it's certainly something worth considering.
Good.
Since I think it makes sense anyway, I would certainly consider it.
It's interesting with some of the people that you defeated in winning the Democratic nomination. We've had them in here. Maria Cabrera, I'm thinking of, that was in here and praised you effusively when we were in here a couple of weeks ago. I think she wants, and no, I don't think, she came out and said that she wants a position with your administration. Is that someone who you would consider?
That's the first time. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, of course, Maria's a highly qualified person. I haven't considered that. I mean, she hasn't told me that, so I'm glad to hear that you're in the middle of the know on these things.
No, she said it on television. Anybody that was watching heard that she absolutely wants to be a part of your administration. I imagine you're making a lot of new friends right now.
Very popular.
There's a lot of people that
are
looking for positions. Let's get to you governing the city. Sure. If and when you become mayor, which again I think is likely given the registration. What is your first order of business?
Well, there are a couple of tracks. One, I'd like to reimagine how our government works. So we want to do a complete management plan of the entire city. I don't think one's been done in a long time, so that we can identify any inefficiencies, and I'm certain that there are many inefficiencies in the way we do things. The second thing that I really want to do is put together a strategic plan for improving our neighborhoods. The cornerstone of my entire campaign has been that whether it's crime or finance or the vitality of the city, we have to improve the neighborhoods that are most troubled. And I think to do that, you have to help our neighbors. We have to help people who are jobless, people who've been in and out of prison, who've had a difficult time getting employment. And if we don't get people employed, our neighborhoods simply aren't going to function. So to me, putting together the meat on the bones of a strategy to improve our neighborhoods is first business.
You can't do this by yourself. And since you were coming in with, as you pointed out, 23% of the vote, you don't necessarily have a mandate. You have to be able to work with council. It seemed like that's what Dennis Williams' problems was. He didn't have a mandate coming in, and he didn't get along with council. Are you going to get along any better?
That. I think, well, Dennis actually had a larger mandate than I did. I mean, he had strong support in the community. I think events overtook.
He had like 4,000 votes.
Well,
right?
4,200 votes out of 12. It's a third. You know, it's a third. I mean, it's hardly a majority. But if you have multiple, we have multiple candidates, you're never going to get a majority. I mean, you'd have to be a super candidate to get a majority. So, you know, I don't think that certainly wasn't the undoing of the current administration. I think events overtook them. I don't think they understood how to deal with the events. I think a lot of it was cosmetic. I think they've actually done some pretty good things. I don't think they've told their story very well. And so, I mean, I don't want to be critical of the mayor and the way he handled things, but I don't think not having a mandate, a perceived mandate by the public is the problem. I think you'll win people over if you do the right things. People tend to agree on what needs to be done. People really want jobs. People really want to see economic vitality. They want to see the crime issue dealt with strategically. No one's going to turn the spigot tomorrow and make the crime go away. But if people believe in what we will be doing, I think you'll see people rally to our side. So far, I don't see any antagonism. And I will tell you this much, and this is most important. I said during the campaign, this campaign was run at such a dignified and high level, very much unlike what you see in most cities around this country. So what happened is we came out of this campaign, if not friends, although I think I have very good friends among those who I ran with, very friendly. There were no hurt feelings between the candidates. I think some of the candidates probably had some hurt feelings among people who chose not to support them. But it didn't get personalized to me or to Theo or to Kevin or to Eugene. I think we all remained friends. And so in the wake of the campaign, there are no hard feelings that are going to make for some real political fissures. And that's what
That's immensely important. That means you can work together and you can work with council.
We're
going to be back in a moment. I almost shook your hands to wrap it up, but I forgot we have two more segments. When we come back, I want to go through issues. I want to go through crime and redevelopment in the schools when our conversation with Mike Purzycki, Democratic candidate for mayor of Wilmington, when the Delaware Way continues.